Hi, so today we have an extremely special guest, someone I've had the opportunity to chat with before and just extremely phenomenal and interesting, Nick Heijmans. Thank you very much for speaking with me today. I'm excited to hear from you and just get to know you and what you're doing in the Dutch mortgage industry.
Thanks for having me on your.
Yeah, so I think here at the Blueprint, what we're trying to do is highlight people like yourself, like people that are moving up in the finance industry, people that are on the ground, have a pulse on what's happening, and have some expertise into this particular market. I think hearing from you is going to be incredible today. So maybe we could start off by you just giving me a bit of introduction to yourself, your history. I know you've worked in corporate and you've also now gone out on your own, which is very interesting. So maybe you could just give us a brief history of yourself.
Yeah, sure. My name is Nick Heijmans, 40 years old. I'm the proud dad of two beautiful kids, and I work for around 30 years in the financial industry. So in the past, I began working for Rabobank. Rabobank is one of the biggest banks and money lenders in the Netherlands. And around 3-4 years, I start working at an independent mortgage advising company. Around, let's say, a little bit, uh, not almost 2 years, I start my own company. It's called Hypotheek Express. Hypotheek is the word for mortgage in English. And yeah, we help people in the Netherlands with the best mortgage and insurance. And yeah, the specialism is that I help a lot of expats. So yeah, the last couple of years, a lot of expats have come to the Netherlands, especially to the Eindhoven region, where you have companies like ASML, Philips, and other high tech and IT companies. But of course, you also have really popular places like Amsterdam, Utrecht,
Mm,
and Rotterdam.
right.
So that's in short who I am and what I do.
Perfect. And I'm curious, like, how's the switch been from coming from Rabobank and then working and then going out on your own? Like, how's that switch been from big corporate to going out on your own? Like, how are you finding that?
Yeah, the Rabobank was what is and was a really big and popular bank in the Netherlands. And in the past, you have a lot of local offices, especially from Rabobank. So they were really big in the smaller villages through the whole of the Netherlands. But then COVID came to the Netherlands, and that's why I decided Rabobank to make more advice and customer contact by video. Yeah, that was not, in first opinion, that was not really my way of working. And then I thought, maybe I can do it on my own, and not advising and helping people with the best Rabobank mortgage, but also, yeah, in the Netherlands you have quite some options for mortgages like other banks like ING, ABN AMRO, but also pension funds, insurance companies. And I want that people will get the best mortgage. Sometimes that Rabobank, sometimes it's a different one. So, yeah, the main reason to start for my own was to give customers the whole package of what was the best mortgage at that moment.
That's interesting because I've speaking to someone yesterday and they run they are in marketing but marketing for finance, and they was speaking to me about how getting people that really care about their customers is really difficult these days. Like, it's really about the sale, but people that are really genuinely trying to take customers through an authentic process is difficult to find. Are you finding that a lot of the time, like the concentration of people that actually care about their customers versus just people that are trying to sell mortgages? Are you finding more and more in the industry that there's a difference, or is it that most agents will be above board?
Good question. Yeah, a lot of our customers come through customers that we helped before, through friends, colleagues, family. And a lot of people, they when they are thinking of to buy a property and to arrange the mortgage, they first are going to call the bank. So where they have a bank account, they are calling the bank, and then they have to call a general number or they have to make an appointment by chat. Yeah, and then it's going to be really dramatic because they can only plan an appointment in 2 or 3 weeks. There's no binding with the advisor, and for a lot of people, that's really frustrating. So yeah, for me, for our customers, get our mobile phone number. They can send us a WhatsApp. They can call us. They can send us an email, or they can reach us on the social media. So we have really short lines. So yeah, people don't have to wait for, let's say, longer than a couple of hours for the answer, or when they would like to make an appointment. Yeah, we can settle that on the short term. So I think that's the biggest plus that we can have if you compare us with other bigger companies.
And I think that's the big benefit of being a small sort of agency is the attention you pay. I did some work with a bank. I can't really name the bank here, but I was speaking with some of the advisors. It was very interesting that they told me that in some cases they would deliberately ignore customers, right? Because of the case was very complex, and they knew to meet the threshold for the number of mortgages they needed to close for the month, they need to pick the mortgage cases that are easy and simpler to do. Or say they have a target of 8 mortgages a month, they'll pick the 8 easiest ones. And the outliers, they just wouldn't answer, they would ignore. Just looking at your LinkedIn, and I was reading the page of reading a story of one gentleman that you helped, I could see there was a bit of a complexity in the case. Would you then say that um, you're able to help more in more complex cases and you're able to give more specialized service than a more general bank would?
Hmm. Yeah, agree. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, I was on the airplane I was coming back from a holiday in Portugal. And then a guy called me and he have a mortgage application at a different money lender, different bank. But yeah, the mortgage advisor wasn't able to get a successful mortgage application, and the mortgage needs to be settled in 2 3 working days. And then I was saying to him, send me all the information. I'm back tomorrow. It was in the weekend, but I can work for you in the weekend. And yeah, if we make the deal that we can close the mortgage, if I can arrange it successfully, then I'm happy to help you with that. Of course, it's not possible to have 10 of those mortgages at the same time,
Mhm.
because then you are becoming crazy. So sometimes you have a couple of more the easy mortgage application, but we, of course, we also take our time for the more complex
Mm.
application. It's not really a good business model if you only have the really complicated mortgages, because yeah, there's also a possibility that the mortgage won't be accepted. So, yeah, we also always take time to get to know the person and also the story, and that's a big advantage that we can help people. We can apply at 35 money lenders, so you will always get the best mortgage. And sometimes it's better to go to Rabobank, sometimes to a different bank or money lender.
Right. And speaking of those complexities of difficult mortgages, like I know the pressure for housing in the Netherlands, rental market and also the mortgage market, there's a lot of pressure for housing. I've seen the locals saying that expats are taking their housing and they want more housing and they want lower housing. I know Airbnb now is regulated where you can only rent out your house for a specific time in the year. You can't rent it out for more than a certain period. But what role do you think technology plays in helping solve some of these complicated cases? Because the Netherlands and the Dutch mortgage industry is one of the most complicated mortgage industries in the world, given the amount of laws, given the amount of number of rules you have to follow and the steps you have to follow. What role do you think technology has to play in this? The emergence of a conventional advisor like yourself, and obviously someone that comes from a technology background like myself, that's the space I work in. What role do you think this plays now and is going to play in the future?
Yeah, yeah, good question. Yeah, the Netherlands, the housing markets and also the banking industry in the Netherlands is quite conservative, and that's why it's really stable. So it's really trustable. So I think technology in the housing market isn't really big, but of course you see every year you see more data and tech in the industry. So I think maybe there will be a possibility, because at this moment in the Netherlands, a lot of older people, they are living in really big houses that are really okay for families with 3 or 4 kids. But the older people aren't, for them, it is impossible to move to a different property, because there's a big shortness in bungalows or big shortness in apartments. So they can't make the step to a different house, and that's why they are blocked in their current house. I think with IT or with tech, it's really good possible that there will be something like a platform where people can offer some space in their house, or maybe they can switch with other people that are now living in an apartment. Then maybe they can change houses. So I think there are really good, some really good possibilities to involve tech in the housing industry.
That's very interesting. And do you see any major shifts around the property market, especially with the interest rate moves by the European Central Bank? Like, I know there's been a lot of shifts and talk of interest rates shifting. And how do you think that's going to impact the market going forward?
Yeah, for this year, the interest rates, they are one week they are increasing a little bit, and other week they are going up a little bit. So every week or every month it's a little bit different, but yeah, the interest rate is for the last year is quite stable. So it's going down a bit. Yeah, for now, the shortness in houses in the Netherlands is so big. Yeah, or if the rate will be 5% or 3%, I think the difference on the buying part isn't that big, because people need a house, and with the tax benefit that we have in the Netherlands, the tax deduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you pay 5%, so a higher interest rate, you will get a bigger tax benefit. So the net payment between 3 or 5% the difference isn't that big.
Mhm.
So I think the effect from for the interest isn't that big on the housing market, to be honest, from my side.
Right. And that's interesting that you say the interest rate is not that big on the housing market, while you see in places like the US, the interest rate, the market does cool down a lot, like when the interest rate goes up, and that like you can see a big cool off. But the Netherlands is a very interesting market. It's just because of the housing pressure that exists. Like, really, people are really, really fighting for houses. And tell me something in terms of, like, obviously you mostly help expats, right? As they're coming into the Netherlands, there is this housing pressure. Is there any help or sort of solution into short-term housing? Because I know for sure it's very difficult to get rental housing as well. Like, there's a lot of pressure with that. So how would someone navigate that? Like, say you're out of the Netherlands and you're coming to Netherlands and you're looking for housing, but you're not in a position to buy yet. So how do clients typically navigate that? Or are your core customers people already sort of in housing? Maybe elaborate a bit on that.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so I checked the numbers before this interview, and I checked at this moment we are in shortness of 400,000 euros, 400,000 euros in short in houses. So at this moment, in 2024, they built net around 70,000 houses per year. But if we want to solve the 400,000 euros in shortness for the houses, then we actually need to build 100,000 euros, 100,000 houses per year.
Unit.
Yeah, every year the shortness in houses is becoming bigger and bigger. Yeah, when people come, like expats come to the Netherlands, of course, first of all, they try it to search a rental or a buying house just by themselves, but it's really difficult. So you see a lot of companies like ASML or Philips, they are helping their employees to find a rental property. So probably the companies are also hiring a specialist who can helping them in search for the houses. Most of the time, they first start with a rental house for, let's say, 1 year, but the rental prices, of course, have been coming higher and higher in the last years. So on average, I think the rent for houses is around 1,700 to 2,500 euros. So um, what I want to say is that after when they are moving to a buying property, yeah, then they also need some help from a buying agent maybe, and also from mortgage advisors. So they're really seeking for the right specialist to help them in finding the right property.
But also that's just the thing is that, you'll have like a property go up 1 minute, say on Funda, and after 10 minutes, you have 50 applications, right? And you have an open house, 20 people go to the open house, 30 people in that open house. So just in terms of like, are there any other immediate solutions, like for someone that's coming to the Netherlands, like short-term rentals? Is that an option? Is that something that you would say is an option for people? And I think long term, would you then say going straight into buying a house would be the most advisable to avoid the rental pressure?
I'm not really on the rental part. So yeah, I'm a mortgage advisor, and most of the people I speak, they are at this moment, they are living in a rental property.
Right.
And what I've heard is that they are being held by the company that they are working for. So the company is seeking for a rental house, and then they offer the one package to get into the Netherlands. And most of the time, it's just a rental contract for 1 year,
Hmm.
or a half year, or for 2 years. And after that, they would like to make the step to a buying place,
Right.
because also in rental properties, there's a big shortness in houses as well. And indeed, if they are looking on Funda, or they are visiting a house by an open housing day, yeah, it's really, really important to have a good preparation before you are going to visit the house and to make an offer, to have an idea what am I able to make as a bid, how much savings do I have, what's my income, how much could I borrow from the bank.
Right.
So the preparation before viewing and bidding on a house is really important.
Okay, interesting. I want to shift this a little bit to your sort of your entrepreneurial side, which is where you are and some of the things that you've learned along the way in your entrepreneurial journey in terms of your advisory business. Just some of those things. Say someone is a mortgage advisor and they're working at ING or with Rabobank, and they are also eventually looking to go out into their own independent advisory business or market. Like, what have been the most, let's start with, what have been the most painful sort of lessons you've had to learn?
Yeah, good question. First of all, also for that, you need to do a lot of preparation. So you have to apply for a permit. So you have to go to the authorities yeah, you have to send a lot of documents, a lot of proof of education. You need to arrange an insurance. Now, if you would like to be an independent mortgage advisor, yeah, you have to deal with not only one bank or money lender. You need to work and to cooperate with 30 or 35. In the beginning, it will take quite some time. To some money lenders, they don't know you, and you don't know them also not that good. So you have to create a bond, and that they would like to work with you, and that they trust you, that you can give out the loans that they are offering. So it's not really easy to start from zero to offer all the money lenders in the Netherlands. And besides that, yeah, you also have to work with a CRM program, customer service, and also with the advisory package to make the right calculations. And from that package, you can also start the application at any money lender. And besides that, yeah, you have insurances. So it takes really a lot of time, maybe 6 months, 12 months in preparation to start your own business. And besides that, you also have the website, maybe you have social media. So it's quite some time before you can start. You already have a couple of months of work before you can even start your first mortgage.
That's very interesting. I think it's the same in a lot of spheres, and I think a lot of industries will have certain regulation that you need to pass, and rules that you need to follow. It's not an easy journey to sort of go from working where there's a structure in place. And sometimes when you are in that structure, it's very easy to take those things for granted. But like to get where you are, it's complex. And these relationships with inside of these money lenders, for example, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in this, but you'll have like the back office that knows all the rules, and you have the I think in Dutch, the person who accepts the loan. It's like the person that deals with this. Would you say that building these relationships is one of the most important things that you need to do in mortgage advisory?
Yeah, agree. So in the beginning, I just applied for the mortgage at the money lender with the lowest rate.
Mm,
But then I noticed that some money lenders will take quite some processing times, and they are quite critical for every document. So they are checking every document like a couple of times. Also, when people work for a company, we need to send the payslip and the employer statement
yeah.
to the money lender, and then sometimes there's only a difference of a couple of cents between those two documents in the salary. And for some money lenders, that's a really big problem. And then then you need to go to the customer again, and to send to the customer needs to go to his company, apply for a new employer statement, and then go back. So that's really frustrating for us, for the customer, but also for the money lender. And also sometimes it's not the best option to choose for the lowest interest rate, but because things when people have a mortgage, things could change. Maybe they want to raise the mortgage, or maybe they are want to move to a different property. There are some money lenders, they have really good service and good quality in their policies, in their conditions. And for some of the money lenders, it's not really that good. So yeah, when you are going to be more experienced, you notice some money lenders, they are really good processing times, and they're really good conditions. And when I call them, I will immediately speak to a person who will check the mortgage. Sometimes I have to send an email and I have to wait for 1 week. So I always speak about that with the customer. So we can choose for bank A with the rate that's a little bit low, or we can choose where money lender that's maybe the interest rate is a little bit high. But yeah, finally, when you would like to change something, or when you have a question that we need to ask to the bank, sometimes it's not the best option to choose for the lowest rate.
And what would you say is the thing that you love the most about being a mortgage advisor?
Yes, most of the time we have our meetings or our appointments are really positive, like people are buying new property or would like to buy a new property, or they are going to renovate their house, or they would like to make their house more sustainable. But also, sometimes we have appointments for people who are going to divorce. Yeah, that can be a little bit more complicated and a more dramatic appointment. But yeah, finally, we also can turn that to a hopefully to a positive outcome. So most of the time, our appointments are really on the positive side. Most of the time, it's on the good news part, so people can buy the new property. But it also can be frustrating. Sometimes people can buy the property they love really much, or other people make a higher bid. And what's positive more? Yeah, you work with people. I love to work with numbers. It's you need to act very fast. So yeah, it's not when you speak to people, it's not for a really long term. It's more the action is only a couple of weeks. And then maybe you don't speak to them for a couple of years. But yeah, when they have a question later on, they will contact you, or I will call them again to say, is everything okay with the mortgage?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that.
And I think that's a gap. Just still on this vein, I think that's a gap where a lot of technology is good to leverage, because then having this information at the right place at the right time, using data. So there's something interesting that we're starting to find in some of the data that you see is there is a time frame between someone buying the first house and buying their second house, and over a large data set of people, you can start to tell, like, in a certain particular time, people start looking for different houses because maybe they've got kids, or at this point, the divorce rate increases. So this is the right time for Nick to then go and speak to someone about a mortgage again, right? To remind them, to keep reminding them. But this is just where technology and obviously mortgages come together. But what's also, I see you are extremely diligent in just putting yourself out there. You, like, I'll be on LinkedIn and I know I'll see something I can read from you, and you're extremely diligent. How do you balance that? Like, how do you balance the time between helping your clients and also doing all the marketing? And I know this is something I've struggled with running a small business and growing that, has been dividing your time in the beginning. You want to get more customers, but you also want to do a good job. And then you also have all the admin, like you have all the subscriptions, you have all the regulatory stuff, you have papers to file, the advice report, you have all these things. How do you balance that time in doing all these things?
Yeah, yeah, that was the big advantage when I worked for Rabobank. People were calling by themselves to Rabobank because they have a really big budget for marketing. And of course, they have quite a lot of customers who have a bank account at Rabobank. So when people thought, I would like to have a mortgage appointment or to speak with a mortgage advisor, then they just called Rabobank. And I just can sit in the room in the office, and people came automatically to Rabobank. Now that I work for myself, that's a little bit more difficult. You only have, let's say, 40, 50, 60 hours per week that you could work. So you have to need to make some choices.
Mm.
For me, LinkedIn is working really good. Some people, some other companies, they are using Instagram or maybe TikTok. Yeah, that's those platforms are not really suits me very well. So LinkedIn I really like. It's really transparent and it's quite professional, and it's not a lot of ads on LinkedIn.
Mm.
But of course, yeah, ING or Rabobank or ABN AMRO, they have quite some budget for marketing, and they
Mm.
have really a lot of information and also specialists for data or for AI. Yeah, of course, I don't have those kinds of budgets. So we use a really good CRM system where we can see when it's interesting for people to change for the mortgage. So, by example, now they have a mortgage at ABN AMRO. Maybe
Mm.
it's interesting to switch to ING. Or we also can have triggers when people are selling their houses, when our customers are adding their house on Funda.
Mm.
Then we get a trigger in our system, but maybe with that trigger, you are a little bit too late, because if they didn't contact you before that yourself, probably they have made a different choice for a different mortgage advisor.
Mm.
So yeah, after all, the conclusion is you have to make some choices, and yeah, you can't gamble on every part when you are a small company.
I think just finding that niche, finding what you're good at and concentrating on it and doing it well, like putting out really good content. I know more and more these days, there's a push of putting out more, especially with AI and AI generated articles, AI generated posts, and AI generated content. What sometimes you'll see is that finding a blend between what you can do with technology and also what you can do and still be authentic,
Mhm.
still put yourself out there and claw back some of your time. But that's very interesting. I think just coming from a background of where you are now, where do you see yourself in relation to the mortgage industry? Where do you see yourself in 2, 5, 10 years? Where do you see the Dutch mortgage industry in 2, 5, 10 years? Where do you see this going? What's the goal? What's the end goal for Nick? What's the end goal for the company? What's the end goal for the market? But where do you see this going?
Yeah. Now at our company, we are with three people, three guys, but we are searching for new employees. So, but in this also the market for finding people in the Netherlands is quite hard. So in the mortgage industry, but also in the banking industry, people are becoming older and older, and there isn't not a lot of young people. They are going in the mortgage or banking industry. They're choosing for different branches. So yeah, we are desperate for searching for the right persons to work at Hypotheek Express. And yeah, of course, the sector is it's changing. A lot of our appointments go by video. But yeah, maybe also in the future it's not necessary anymore to go to a mortgage advisor. Maybe have some advice for a mortgage by AI. But yeah, that's why we try to be different than other mortgage advisors. Just be authentic. Of course, we have quite some experience. We know the market. We know the market in the housing market. We know the mortgage market. So I think we can add a really good service. So we have noticed that a lot of people, they take some information from Google or from nowadays from ChatGPT. But yeah, sometimes the information from those websites or isn't that good. So it's not always 100% correct. So sometimes it's 100% wrong even. So it's really good to stay in between the customer, I and Google and us. I think we can in the future, yeah, we are more on the authentic part and to help people to understand the bigger picture. But some parts of our work will change, like checking all the documents and tend to answer easy questions. So yeah, like how much can I pay back every year without paying a penalty? Can I change my bank account number? Those kinds of questions are probably or hopefully in a couple of years really easy to answer them with AI or with different solutions.
And in terms of obviously the Dutch housing market as a whole, in the context of just where the global economy is and the context of Europe itself, where do you see this going in terms of the shortages, in terms of the pricing pressure, in terms of housing? Like, do you see any end in sight? Is there an end in sight for this housing shortage? What do you think are some of the solutions? Do you think would be good? Where do you see this going for the Netherlands, for the region as a whole? Because it's not only the Netherlands facing this pressure, but a lot of other countries as well.
Yeah, when you heard a lot of people in the Netherlands who are saying that the Netherlands is full. Also, elections are coming in the Netherlands. So also politicians, they are saying the Netherlands is full. But when you drive through the Netherlands, you see a lot of agriculture. So a lot of farming companies, farmers. So yeah, in my opinion, Netherlands, every piece in the Netherlands is being taken at the moment, but around 50% is for the agriculture part. Yeah, in my opinion, that's way too much in the Netherlands. So I'm a big fan of getting a lot of smart people all from the world, and to that companies like ASML or Philips can grow, and that the Netherlands will be the center of Europe. Maybe it's a little bit big to say, but I think we really have that possibilities in the Netherlands to take that role, especially when you take a look to countries like Germany or France. Those countries are also quite conservative, and I think the Netherlands can take that role to be for people with high educated people to come to the Netherlands and work and living from here.
Right. That's very helpful to know. And just in conclusion, like, how can people find you? How can people get in touch with you? How can they get your mortgage expert? I guess this is where you tell us like how you work the magic for all these people that you help.
Yeah, when people live in the moment at the moment in the Netherlands, or planning to come to the Netherlands, or they already live in the Netherlands and rent a place at the moment, and they would like to make the step for buying something, yeah, they can contact me. They can go to the website Hypotheek Express, or they and probably also can find my mobile phone number on the internet. Just give me a call or send me a WhatsApp, and then we can plan a meeting to check what are your plans, what are your wishes, and then I can tell you more about the possibilities and the process of buying something in the Netherlands, and of course also for the arranging the mortgage.
That's excellent. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you very much for taking the time. I think I've learned a lot just getting a pulse again. And this is why it's so important to have people like yourself just to get a pulse on what's happening in the industry, what's happening in the Dutch mortgage industry in particular, and someone with your expertise that's working with people that's been come through corporate and then gone on and done their own thing and are growing and expanding, but more so are solving real problems, which is the whole aim of being solve problems for people and just give people a good service. In the age of AI, in the age of all these threats to your business model is sort of by the fact that people, at the moment at least, will always want to find a reliable, relatable person that they can deal with. I personally find myself going on a website, for example. I probably know that the AI might have the answer, but I just don't want to speak to the AI model. And that's coming for someone that works with AI models and technology every day. I just go, please find me a person. I don't want your answer. Find me a person. And it'll say, so I just find that finding a good, reliable person like yourself is where it's at. And that's where the value is going to be, because AI is replacing a lot of people that are just offering a generic service, right? But for people that are building those relationships that can genuinely take you through the process and care about people, there's always going to be a market for that, in my view. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Look forward to seeing more and more from you. And obviously people can get information about your business and your website, and I trust you'll be able to help them. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.